Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're checking out the Z-46 Tier 8 German destroyer Bay. Of course, we're going with Bay. And there's the ship build. Now, this screenshot was taken after this game. I've since upgraded it fully. Some of the ships, not necessarily only at Tier 8, but especially at Tier 8, some of them dramatically improve with the upgrades. This one, the upgrades provide smaller benefits generally. I think the torps add a kilometer, maybe a little bit of speed in the water, HP pool, rudder shift for the hull, which is what I typically upgrade first. Not as dramatic as some, but obviously every ship's going to get a little bit better. Now the Z's grown on me a little bit. Initially I would say it was the weakest of the Tier 8 destroyers that came with launch. That's Yugamo, the Sumner, and of course Delny, which at the time I didn't have, but I've since gotten that, and I'm starting to like the Delny as well. No doubt we'll cover that soon. But Z, it's pretty good overall, and in fact we're going to see some nasty damage and a pretty good score in this game here. Moving into C, Atlantic. Okay, now the spawns are a little bit goofy. We got a destroyer paired with something else in our team, and they got two destroyers paired together on their team. Anytime you're with a destroyer in a division, that can throw off the usually relatively equal distribution of destroyers off the bat. So we're paying attention to who's getting on what cap, keeping an eye on the map, of course, trying to put some zone torps here as well. What's the deal with the Z? Why was a little bit reticent about it? Well, one of the main goals, one of the main roles of the destroyers, in my view at least, is counter enemy destroyers, right? We're here to capture bases, capture the base, or sorry, domination mode. Here to counter enemy destroyers, that's never going to change. Spotting ships, those are kind of the main ones. You can also add in screening torpedoes, incoming torpedoes for your team. If you're in front of your team, you'll spot them earlier. Hopefully you can dodge them, and then they get advanced warning. So those are really kind of the four main activities that we're going to be doing as a destroyer. Note, as always, that we didn't say torping battleships, especially at the back of the map. Nobody cares about that in terms of winning, although it may give you a bunch of enjoyment on a personal level. Anyway, moving into C here. Now we're keeping an eye on who we've spotted. We got a Republic, Suzuya, and note the team comps. We got one cruiser per team, of course, so the cruiser is the belle of the ball, right? If you got one of any ship, that should be your highest priority ship generally, because what it brings to the table is relatively rare for this game, right? So cruiser's main role, counter destroyers. Of course, we got 3 destroyers per team, and then of course boatload of battleships as per usual. But because we only have one cruiser per side, if we can get that off the board very quickly, that's a big boon, okay? Because if we got these destroyers and they're not getting supported by cruisers, then advantage goes to blue team. So we'll see how quickly blue targets and eliminates that Suzuya, but that should be the top target going into the game. All right, so we got C. Evaluate the map. What do we got here? Well, we got no threats to see, right? We got battleships, we got cruisers sailing away, battleships are watching from the back of the map. C is secure for now, right? For the foreseeable future, there's no threats to C. If there's a suspected destroyer in the area, perhaps we would try and counter that destroyer, but nothing to do right now, so of course we're going to move into B. We'll throw some torps out there, sure, why not? But moving into B, and we'll see the German smoke sonar combo employed here. Now that's a very powerful combo, using the smoke to conceal yourself, using the sonar to catch the enemy destroyer, spot them. Hopefully yourself and your team will blast them quickly, and you can take that out. Very powerful play. But when we're getting up into Tier 8 here, I believe it's the same sonar that we got on the Z-23, the Tier 7. It's not as effective as the lower tiers. You got the smoke sonar combo in kind of the mid-tier ships, and that's pretty dang powerful. Think T-61, how dominating that can be. That's really the only ship that has access to that, and there's relatively few radars. Up here in Tier 8, radars aplenty. You got Tier 7, Tier 8, Legendary Tier. Everything you can see, you're going to see a lot of radars off these cruisers. But here we got them. We got them in the web. He's trying to back up, but this is the difficulty here. Unlike the radar, which drops relatively quickly usually, outside of a Minotaur, and previously the Des Moines until that radar got buffed, but usually it's 30 seconds or less. Russians dramatically less, usually about 15 seconds, give or take. That, if you can survive, you can get out of there. But the sonar, if you're stuck within the range of it, you're kind of screwed, assuming the enemy is shooting you. And that's what we did here. Myself and the destroyer, who's been trying to capture B. Great job piling on them. 2v1, take them off the board very quickly. And we got 2 red destroyers off the board. They got a battleship, sure. They got our cruiser. That's important. They did a good job getting rid of the sole blue cruiser on the red team. But the game is beginning to open up. Bismarck, oh god. A little bit of a navigation issue there. Sails into the torpedoes. Down he goes. We got C. We got a destroyer suicide rushing a battleship over there. Fair enough. Capturing A. All right, their last remaining destroyer is trying to defend A. And the longer those battleships can tie him up, the better. Okay, because assuming we do get A, which I believe we will, we've had C. C is currently generating points. A currently isn't. B currently isn't, but in 11, 10 seconds, whatever it is, we will soon be generating 2 caps worth of points. And if they can snag A, which looks increasingly likely here, then we have 3 caps generating points. Okay, now the impetus is on them, the red team, to push aggressively in this situation. We don't have to do anything. Outscoring the enemy 3-1, we don't have to do anything. All right, so if that destroyer over there in A wants to sail around in circles, do loop-to-loops around these battleships, throw torpedoes at them, occasionally get a hit, maybe once in a while get a dev strike, whatever, we're fine with that, because either A will be contested if the destroyer is actually on the base, or if not, we'll keep generating that income. B, we got the Yamato pushing in. Suzuya, concerning. Why aren't we shooting at that? Of course, that was identified as the top target going into the match. Poor shot selection. But we got some guys trying to shoot him, at least. He's doing a little bit of dodging, so he's pretty effective there. We're content to just sit here on B and spot these guys, right? Keeping an eye on things, though. We don't want them to get too close. Don't want to endanger the ship. Because when we've had massive scoring advantages like we're going to have here for most of the game, even if they kill everyone else on my team, if I can stay alive, I can sail off into the sunset, take the W home, and seal the deal. So that's kind of the main play here. Z-46, my problem with it traditionally is, getting back to the point I was briefly trying to make, Destroyer v Destroyer fights elevated. Now, AP, we're going to see a lot of AP shots out of this ship in this game. Very dangerous. And if those destroyers have enough armor to arm the AP, then we can smash them. But if they don't, think Yugamo or other lightly armored destroyers, then we're relying on the HE, because we're not, the AP shells will be overpenning. They're not going to be doing much damage at all. And the HE shells on this thing really suck, okay? So that's the problem that I traditionally have with it, and it's still the weakness. And once again, the sonar / smoke combo, but particularly looking at the sonar, not as good, okay? We could use another, I'd like to see like a Bismarck sonar almost on this thing, like another kilometer on it, then it would be quite powerful, but perhaps maybe a little bit overtuned, but just a little bit more range on the sonar, just to give a little bit of a buff. We're going to be outspotted in the smoke sonar battle by the Loyang, for instance, tied with the Friesland, and if we're going head-to-head in a DPM fight with the Friesland, not going to work, okay? So, yeah, what I want this thing to do, it doesn't necessarily excel at. Torpedoes, yeah, they reload pretty quickly. They don't do a lot of damage. We'll see a lot of torp strikes in this game. If you get enough of them, you can get some kills, but the torpedoes hopefully we're getting some floods. Negligent driving here. What's going on here? The pilot, distracted. There's no reason to let the crew off on the beach, and in fact, we bounce right off. That seems like kind of an inconsequential play, but what we need to be doing is getting directly south of C to spot the Iowa on the cap so that the Montana south of him can shoot him, right? Because our wind condition that we're going for, we're tied on ships. Nope, we're down on ships. Yep, we're tied on ships. That thing goes back and forth very rapidly, as you can tell, but when we're accumulating points in the background, we want to maintain that as best we can. So, had I not ran into the island like a ding-dong, we would hopefully be coming around here, maybe spotting that Iowa. Montana can get a quick shot off on them, boom, reset them there. And that adds another minute. It doesn't seem like a lot, but 3 points every 5 seconds per cap. We got 2 caps generating points. That's 72 points just for a full reset, right? If he was about to hit the cap there, like he just did, but the Montana hits him, fully resets the base. That adds another minute to the capture. 72 points. That's a hell of a play right there. So, unfortunately, a little too focused on dinging up the Yamato. Didn't get the spotting, which was a much stronger play for me to do in this particular instance. But we're still at it. We still got A, still got B, C. Okay, well, as long as we got 2-1, we're looking pretty good. We had some preemptive torps down for the Iowa. They lined up pretty well from the suggested aim point once we saw them. And now we're dropping the smoke, we're shooting. And in this situation, this will be instructive if you're kind of a newer destroyer player still working on figuring out the spotting situation. I believe the Montana is behind my smoke, right? And of course he is now because the Iowa drops spot. So what happens is every time the Iowa fires his guns, his detectability through the smoke expands nearly to its full detectability. And then you can see there, once he fires, he's spotted again. That'll last for 20 seconds. If he doesn't shoot for 20 seconds, which of course he won't because his reload is longer than that, then he'll drop spot again, assuming the Montana doesn't go around my smoke cloud or I don't poke out the back to spot him. Getting very close to me here. This is a dangerous play. I believe our detectability outside of the smoke is just over 5. So he's nearly within that. And of course we do need to be worried about proxy spot mods, which will give them a 3-kilometer spotting distance. So this is already a little bit too close for comfort here. But I'm trying to set him on fire. We're lining up some torps here, trying to get him off. All right, if we kill him, I could potentially move back into C. B is being captured. And there's the destroyer that pops up on the map right there. So, yeah, was it the destroyer? Was it not? Wasn't quite sure until that moment. But now that we see the destroyer, we know it's either the battleship or the cruiser on B. And looks like the battleship was last spotted in B as well. So, you know, we got some good read on that one. Okay, we get a torp strike on there. We got a flood. The Iowa's in trouble. He's already got some fire. Down he goes. And now, once again, we're unspotted. Need those guys to kill the destroyer. If they kill the destroyer, the game should be over, right? Because we had a massive scoring lead in the background for so long, right? Red conceded a lot of points. It's a bad strategy. It's a very common strategy. Probably the most common of all. But imagine this. They sink 2 battleships, right? What happens? They get 200 points difference. So we're up, what are we up? 450, give or take. They sink those 2 guys, we're up 250. All right. So if they get... they'll be getting a 32 or 36 point swing every minute. They don't have enough points to reclaim the lead. Okay, so at this point, all I got to do is sail off. The game should be won, even if they teleported A well simultaneously one-shotting both battleships. They would still lose on score. Illustrative of why we want to play the Caps. All right, they are now in a situation where they cannot win the game. Very frustrating as a player. But they got no one but themselves to blame. You don't want to be playing in your spawn. You want to control the middle of the map, the equator of the map. That's where the points are. That's where the value is. So do your best to move forward and watch the game in the rear at your own peril. Boom! Bismarck, devastating strike on the Suzuya. And the top target of the match was killed 12 minutes and 20 seconds. And Republic. Boom, 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 boom. We got a lot of torp strikes there. Check out the AP here, superstructure shots. And we're starting at 120 there. And this will go up very quickly. So he's going to realize the damage output that this ship's capable of. Trying to angle. Boom, we got some nice support there. And the writing's on the wall for this thing. So the AP, you want to use it whenever possible. You can see here it's quite effective. Very capable of putting out a lot of damage. But you do have to keep an eye on your results. All right, are we getting shatters? Are we getting skips? What are we getting? Are we getting the actual damage that we're shooting for? If not, well, then we're relegated to the bad HE shell. So anyway, that's a look at the Z-46 for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, hey, consider subscribing. We got lots of World of Warships coming for you, and it's coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.